Welcome to Make a Path Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes, and today let's talk about a TV show, a new TV show on Netflix called OZARK. Now, I just watched the second season, and I watched the first season last year, and the second season was just released a few days ago, and I had to check it out. I really dig the first season. There was a lot of people hyping it up as a successor to Breaking Bad. Like, if you love Breaking Bad, this is on the same. And I think that was a touch overhype in my opinion. There was a lot I really did enjoy. There was a lot of really slow burn written throughout the first season. And I do forget a lot of, stuff I did either liked or didn't pick up on as far as the camera work or cinematography, little stuff like that. I will say, though, in season 2, there was a lot of camera work, and just the way they shot a lot of their shots. One episode in particular is probably one of my all-time favorites from beginning to end, at least in this series. Just the way they pieced the story together, and especially that camera work, I thought it was absolutely incredible. And it did kind of remind me of the style, the Vince Gilligan style from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. So what we're going to do is, there's not a lot of spoilers to discuss, but I'm going to keep this spoiler-free for just a few seconds here. If you haven't seen it, OZARK on Netflix, if you've seen the first season and you know you like it, definitely get going and watch the second season, or at least start it. It's up now. And if you haven't even seen the first season, well, I think that's even better, because now you got 2 full seasons. You can go whenever you get free time after work and check out those episodes, unless you binge watch it. Then you're going to probably want to kill it out in one go. So before we jump into a couple of the specifics of what I liked, I do want to set this up for those who have never seen or heard about this show before. OZARK is basically about let's say, an accountant. He knows how to wash money, and he and his best friend are involved in this operation for a few years. That's how, when it opens up, this is already going on. He's already involved with this. Everything's going good, yada, yada. And I think, if I remember correctly, in the first season, right from the gate, you enter the story where something is revealed to go wrong. So the main character walks in, and the main character is Jason Bateman. He's the father in the family. And he comes in, and he's thinking it's all gravy, business as usual, and then he's delivered bad news, and this is what spins the story into the Ozark. It's a place in, I don't even pay attention where. I just know it's by a lake, and it's its own little town community, and maybe I should have paid attention to where that was. with rednecks and farms and crap like that, but essentially he, in order to pay back his debt, or that's pretty much all you need to know, right? He has to go to the Ozark and create this big project in order to launder money for the cartel. So that is how they set it up. And he's basically fighting an uphill battle. He's got to take his family, immediately move. And the way they do that, before they move, you'll know what happens. There's one scene where it seems like, okay, you know what, this is going to be one of those shows where, they ride the line with not getting too gory or violent, but it still has that kind of Breaking Bad appeal to it. Clever writing and storytelling and everything like that. And there's this one moment before they move where it's literally like a plop, and it's like, oh shit, they're not playing around. When it's time to get violent, they go there. And you'll know what that moment is. So enough said. Him and his family go, and that's what the first season is about. It's about building this from nothing. He's literally got to show up, and he's got to buy businesses. He's got to integrate himself within the community, get to know people, and then he's at odds with some people in the community, because you got this little redneck chick who, her father's in prison and her brothers are running around causing havoc. I don't want to get into any spoilers and specifics, but that colorful type of cast and community causes some problems, but it also helps him try to accomplish his goals. And then shit seemingly goes wrong. So that kicks off season 2, where he's essentially still fighting that uphill battle, but he's even closer to finishing this project. There's actually some hope. But it does seem like the way they structured this, it wasn't like your usual, okay, he's got to do A, and he's going to get it done right at the end of the episode, or he's going to fail right at the end of the episode. This is basically a conclusion of that type of story arc. However, there's so many different ups and downs throughout this that's pretty good. I don't want to leave out. They also do the cops and confidential informants and shit like that. That's scattered in season 1 and a little bit left over in season 2. So you have all that going on. You got the good guys, the bad guys. You got this guy that's kind of like a Walter White character. He's not as, cold and evil. He shut down on his emotions somewhat. But he's definitely, if you compared him to Walter White, even though I love Walter White, this character is probably the better version of Walter White as far as being a good person. He's honestly, or he's supposed to be that good person, and you see a lot of things that affects him, and you can tell, he's battling against this. So he doesn't really belong so much. But in season 2, I think they give his wife so much to do as far as her character. I found her character to be extremely interesting. I believe it's the chick from Jurassic Park, if I remember. The original, the OG one. I'm almost positive that's her, but nope. You know what? I screwed that up. Congo. That's what I was thinking of. Oh my God. When I was watching that, I'm thinking, man, this is the chick from Jurassic Park. Wait, something's off. I don't think that's her from Jurassic Park. And it just clicked. That was Congo. If you haven't seen that, go and check that out. It's got, what's his name? Winston from Ghostbusters. I love Congo. That was one of my guilty pleasures. I don't know anybody who likes Congo. It's about these gorillas that protect diamonds in the African. Just watch it. It's 90s cheese, but I liked it. I liked it a lot. Anyhow, so the girl from Congo had probably one of my favorite story arcs because you have this really badass lawyer in season 2. And it's a female lawyer who's working with the cartel. And the interactions there, I loved it. I think the lawyer, the actress, definitely did a good job. There's a lot of roles where the actors did an incredible job. There's, you know what? That's enough spoiler-free stuff. The acting, the directing, the camera work, especially in season 2, man. And like I said, I don't really remember. It's not too clear with season 1. But with season 2, some of the camera work just, I loved it. They did incredible work without doing no try-hard gimmicky shit. Like you have this car, for example, and they're just trailing the car. And the way they did the transition cut where they leave a place and they transition, and it literally looks like the car drives right past the camera. However, it's supposed to represent, and it's so smooth, you might even just miss it, or it might even confuse you. It's that smooth, but the car actually gets like a distance away. So now they're on a back road, and then an action scene happens, and the camera doesn't even move, and it lets it just, the scene unfolds, and it allows you to be sucked into what's going on. I thought it was absolutely awesome. And there's some really surprising and shocking moments and things you don't see coming. It's definitely worth a watch. I highly recommend OZARK on Netflix. And if you haven't started it, like I said, this is season 2 I'm talking about. Season 1 was also good. I got to go back and rewatch it. I kind of feel like I like season 2 a little bit better. Maybe even a lot better. But check it out for sure. It kind of has some Breaking Bad elements, some Better Call Saul elements to it, some Justified, if you've seen that. It's got a little bit going on a farm that kind of reminded me of Justified, but check that out. Now, I do want to take just a couple minutes for those who have watched it. So if you haven't seen it, we are going to get into spoilers here, so I want to give you a little spoiler warning, bounce out now. But those who have seen season 2, I think I enjoyed a massive amount of the storytelling up until the daughter. I think the daughter was one that just utterly pissed me off to the point where I was rooting for the mother to just take her shit and throw it out, you know? And I kind of get what they were going for as far as the daughter. They try to play that angle like the daughter was right. Living in this household, she's probably going to grow up and be something that she's going to end up hating and yada. So there's a moment where I agree with maybe her rationale to distance them, but to go get a lawyer and cause all this fuss and to put, air your dirty laundry out there with somebody who's not family, I hated that. I couldn't stand that. I like, listen, if you want to go out, be emancipated, just leave. Just fucking bounce. I don't get, being emancipated doesn't, in her situation, it's not going to do anything extra special for you. just don't listen to your parents. They're like, oh, I'll be home at midnight. Just say, listen, Mom, I'll stay with you. I'm not going to get emancipated, whatever, but, you don't tell me what to do. They probably could have found common ground. It probably wouldn't have been so much of an annoying storyline, but I just couldn't. It bothered me so much because she act like this big shot, and then she gets slapped around by or dragged on the ground by the one girl's dad, the dude, the ex-con. And it's like, wake up call. I was so like, yeah, beat her ass, show her, because she was just so cocky with it. Like, I'm big and bad, I do whatever I want. I think that was the one storyline where, even if when it was in the show, I was still feeling like, okay, I'm not digging this. In the same strength, maybe that is what they were going for, making her a little bit unlikable there. I started liking the kid characters and the effects they had as far as on the story and the progression of the story. It wasn't like these kid characters that were downright annoying and obnoxious. I was like, oh, this could work. But once they hit that emancipation shit, I don't know, and there was something about the storyline where I just couldn't tolerate it. And it was almost laughable to the point where she thought she's big and bad going and slumming it. And then once the slums, reared its ugly head, like, you prissy little rich girl, you got like this spoiled and comfortable lifestyle. You go slumming it, and then you come crying home because the slums are the slums. Like, what did you expect, you dumbass, So I guess that was the only thing that, if they rewrote that, I get where they're coming from, but if they rewrote that, I probably would have said this is almost perfect. Maybe if I rewatch it, I'm supposed to not like the character in a moment. Or some people are supposed to understand where she's come from, and some people aren't. Like I said, if she wanted to distance herself, I'm all for that. Go ahead, whoop-de-whoop. I probably would have liked that part in the storyline. It's the bringing the lawyer in and making all these, big bossy threats when you're just a little shit. Like, come on, grow up. You don't know shit about life, especially privileged. Like, if you're rich and privileged, well, I think that's the same thing. But you get what I'm saying. I mean, hot damn. Yeah, people go through shit. I'm not trying to say that, so don't go there. This is getting a little sidetracked now. But as far as the conclusion of the story and kicking this off into what's coming next, I think that was one of my favorite parts, especially when it came to the wife in this situation. I think she annoyed me to some degree in season 1, but how she handled certain things, she made the call to kill the one girl's father and everything. I liked it. I love the way they filmed. I do think it could have been a little more subtle, but I like it at the end of the day where they had the conversation with the lawyer and she says, listen, if you make this call and have somebody killed, that's going to rest on your conscience. And when your husband touches you, it's not going to feel the same. When you get up and drink coffee, it's not going to feel the same. When you breathe or whatever, it's not going to feel the same. And then after that hit and they cut back to her at that thing, her husband comes over and touches her on the arm and says, you're going to come over and take a picture or whatever it was. And the way they played that out, I really dig that. They kind of made her seem like this had a warped effect on her character to a degree. And I kind of feel like they showcased the husband, and when he said to the daughter, listen, if you want to emancipate, I'm not going to fight you, because he's seeing that little warp within the wife, and it kind of, that coldness maybe put a little wedge between them, unless I'm reading a little too much into this. But for a season 3 to come about, and maybe, I don't know if they explore the idea of creating this rift between those two, the husband and wife. We have already seen that to a degree in season 2 with the farmer couple, which, again, I did like that scene. And, oh, my God, yo, I screwed it for myself. I had the phone literally right here. I was doing some work, answering some emails, and I had the Netflix playing on my phone, and I bumped it, and the phone like did this flip, somersault flip, and I caught it on my lap. But when I slapped the screen, I fast forward the entire like episode 9 right to the ending where he's on the ground and he can't breathe, and I quickly was like, no, I don't want to see that shit. So I go right back to the beginning, and so that whole time where he's setting it up like he's gonna take her out into the woods and kill his own wife, I was like, oh, come on. I already know what's going to happen. So I screwed myself on that. But I feel like that would have been a great moment to be like, oh, shit, she got to him before. But that was one of my favorite episodes where they showcased so simply too. And with the cinematography, they showcase him as a young man coming back from the army and then talking to that kind of a boring girl. Oh, I haven't really left the country or whatever, or the county. And then, what's her name? His new wife, Darlene, comes up and sits down. She's like, listen, man, I promise you it'll be interesting. Just leave with me. And then they go out. And then the way they focused on the guy's head, the back of his head, while he's talking in the diner to her, but she was blurry in the background, and kept the focus on him, and just the way they blended that with him being shot in present day and stuff. I really dig that episode a lot. I think there was a few episodes there where the camera work and the immersion was right up my alley. So that's pretty much it. If you guys got any specifics, I'm not going to break down the entire, season, but if you guys got anything you want to discuss about your favorite parts, I would love to hear it. But some of those were my more favorite parts. I like when the father got all bent out of shape and messed up when he had to kill that dude, and the way they had it as a flash forward in the beginning of the episode, and then they were taking pictures like this nice happy family after the murder and stuff. I love all of that shit, and the way they put that together. I just kind of feel like, maybe I don't remember season 1 as much, but I just kind of feel like they really polished this up for season 2. I don't know. It stands out so much more for me personally, in my personal tastes. I love it. I dig it. Check it out. That's OZARK on Netflix, and season 1 and 2 is on right now. Leave your opinions and thoughts about your favorite scenes and moment from the series. Go ahead. I would love to hear them. All right. Thoughts and opinions down there. I'm done talking, guys. It's your turn.